Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and right now I am joined by Damon Jackson, who picked up a big win this past weekend over Pat Sabatini in the first round. How's it going, Damon?
It's going great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks again for the time. First things first, man. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on the response that you've received from the fans, the media, and fellow fighters as well, from your performance, but also everything that you and your family have gone through in the past week with your brother.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, man, because I like just coming into decision to take the fight, and once I got the news, it was just I never expected it to help out so many people. I wasn't planning on that in any way. I just wanted to do it for myself and for my family because I knew that how much he supported my career and just everything about it was just I just needed to do it for myself, like personally. So once I took the fight and then I kind of, got emotional towards the end of it, it was just crazy that I had hundreds of messages on Instagram and on Twitter, people reaching out to me saying like, there was this guy that sticks out. He was like, I lost my dad and I didn't go to work for 2 weeks. So it was crazy seeing you out there, performing the same week. And people were telling me about losing their brothers and like, losing family and stuff, and how it was really, really helpful to see me like, continue to move forward with my career like that. And it got and it got them some kind of closure on what they were going through. So, I never expected it to be like that. I was just doing it for myself. I wasn't doing it for anyone else. And, it was just so cool to see that, people messaging me and telling me, thank you. And like, saying how cool it was and just, telling me condolences to the family and, just talking about everything. It was just, it was pretty crazy because I never expected anything like that. So it was really cool.
When it came to the decision to go ahead and continue on with the fight, do you feel like that was kind of important for you and your family to go on and kind of give tribute to your brother?
Yeah, and like even that, like doing it for my brother, it was kind of like one of those things where, like whenever you're a local amateur fighter, or whatever, you have to sell tickets, you have to like get your own sponsors, you have to do all these things just to survive as a fighter. And so whenever I was, up and coming, my brother, my sister, my dad, and like my mom and like all my close family would sell tickets for me. They would do everything in the world for me. And so I have so much support. And to make the decision to take the fight was just, it didn't even cross my mind not to take it, because I knew that sitting around for a week or, a week before the funeral, I knew that that was going to be so hard on my family, just sitting around, not doing anything. And how like I wanted no part of that. Even to this day, like if like I can't sit around for more than like one day at a time and do something. So like to sit around and just cry all the time would be, it would have been horrible, been miserable. So I just wanted to like, stay busy with the weight cut, and prepping for the fight. I was doing all my workouts with my coaches, doing all my, weight cut like normal. And then when it came time to fight, I was completely focused on the fight. I wasn't thinking about my brother. I wasn't thinking about family or anything. And I went out there and, I changed my name just because that was his old football name, and I used to hear it as a kid. I would just be on the sidelines playing with my friends, and I would hear, Axon Jackson on the tackle, and like all these different things. I would hear it all the time, every week for years, and it just kind of got stuck in my head. So hearing that after my fight, or right before the fight started, was just crazy. Emotions kind of started hitting me, and then I was like, completely zoned in and focused like once I got there. And I just, it's been a while since I've been that focused on one fighter like that. It was a really cool feeling. And to go out there and get the finish, I never expected the fight to end the way it did. I was kind of expecting for it to go 3 rounds. And that was what I was planning for. A lot of wrestling, a lot of, wrestling defense, and then, defending all that stuff, and, locking out my own submission was my plan. But I just knew that my parents, my mom was in the stands, and I knew my dad back home couldn't handle a 3 round bloody fight. So I really wanted to get that submission in the first or second round. That's what I thought the fight would. That's how I thought it would end. I never thought it would be from strikes like that, and it just played out perfect. It played out as good as it could have went, honestly.
Absolutely, man. And I want to talk a little bit about what's next for you, man, because obviously you got a bit of a winning streak going on right now, four in a row. Big win over Pat Sabatini, another guy that's been on a roll in the UFC. Where do you feel like that win puts you in terms of the featherweight division? Do you feel like you're one step closer to getting a spot in the top 15?
Who else? I mean, who else is on a 4-fight win streak, and especially on a 4-fight win streak outside the top 15? Like, there's, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's no one, but like, I don't think there's anybody that's on a 4-fight, win streak that's taking out prospects like that. I just like I've been doing this for a long time. I definitely don't get the respect that I think that a lot of people feel like I deserve. I feel like I take these fights. I ask for a fight, they give me a fight. I take the fight and I fight the fight, do whatever. And they've given me these last four guys. I haven't asked for one person. And the only thing that I ask is that I get someone in the top 10 or top 15. And if I'm not already there, I don't know where the rankings are. I don't know where I sit, but I know I'm pretty close. If I don't have someone in the top 15, and I want it to be someone they think is the next big thing. I'm thinking like what the couple of matchups that make sense to me would be like Dan Ige. I know he's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's fought some freaking killers. He's like one of the toughest guys in that top 10, 12, whatever he is. Dan Ige, Julian Rosa just fought the week before me, which I would want that fight. I think that makes the most sense out of any matchup there would be Julian Rosa. And then like Alex Caceres and like there's these guys that are just kind of sitting there floating and they're like, in between 10 and 15. And like, I'm just wanting my way in. And there's other matchups that are already made, like Bryce Mitchell is fighting the Russian kid, both great wrestlers, great grapplers. So that fight's already taken. Edson Barbosa, Ilya Taporiev already they're fighting. So like there's matchups that are already made there. So these are the three names that I can think of that don't have matchups yet, and I want to fight in December or November. If they want to go in October, I'll go in October. I mean, I really don't care. I just I really want to say I want to get one more fight in this year, and keep moving forward.
What do you make of this notion over your past few fights that you've been facing these prospects, right? I feel like with your past four
Prospects,
opponents,
yeah.
yeah, there's been this label of taking on these prospects, but in a way, it's like you're a prospect too because you've
Oh,
won
I'm
four in
the
a row.
biggest.
You've been,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
I
I
mean, I'm
mean,
the
what do you make
biggest
of all that?
prospect there. I just, what can I do? It's not about me. It's about the way that people see me. So I've either got to change that and like change who I am, which is not going to happen. I got four girls. I got a big family. I've got a lot of pride in who I am. So I'm not going to sit there and run my mouth and look like an idiot and have to explain to my kids that it's just for show. And like, I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. I want to go out there and compete. And this is like the ultimate competition, man. This is the best of the best for competition. And I just want to go out there and compete. So I'm thinking that 4 wins in a row, like the big finish on their prospect or whatever. Like Pat's one of the toughest dudes. It's like one of the toughest guys that I could have fought, and I finished him in the first round. And like I really never saw any other way around that. Like I was gonna finish him with a submission, or I was gonna finish him with ground and pound, and that's exactly what I had in my head, was that I was gonna end up getting him on the cage, taking him down, and then he's not gonna be used to being on his back. I was gonna pass his guard and then get a submission, or I was going to pass his guard and get some ground and pound and get a finish. And I never one time even thought that there's no way that he's going to finish me. His submissions aren't better than mine. His defensive submissions haven't been tested. His defensive wrestling is not that good. So I was thinking like, I'm going to beat this kid, and then I'm going to show everybody that this is, like I'm the next guy, not him. I'm the next guy. And so I kind of felt like that fight was for a top 15 spot, or at least a big matchup for whoever won that fight. So I think that's what I'm going to get, and I think that me wanting to stay active is what the UFC wants. And I mean, like, I'm not going to run my mouth and start talking crap. Like Pat was like the toughest person I could have fought in this position. So now I beat him. I should be tested by someone in the top 15.
Definitely, man. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I want to touch back on it. You mentioned how you switched your nickname to Action Jackson. For those fans that may not know the backstory, just kind of talk a little bit about that and your tribute to your brother too.
Yeah, man. Just as a kid, I would always go to my brother's games, but you're not always watching. You're not always there watching the game the way that you should when you're a little kid. Like you're just kind of you want to play your own stuff. So I would always play on the side of the football field behind the bleachers. I would play my own football game with my friends, and I would just hear it all the time on the intercom. It would just be like Action Jackson to stop or Action Jackson with the tackle, and like they would always say his name out loud over the intercom, and I just remembered all the time hearing his name. And he actually didn't play in college, but he just played in high school. And well, he was a great soccer player, and they would call him Action on the soccer field too. And he was just always like he was 6'4", like long legs, real fast. So it was just we're my whole family is athletic like that, where it's we all did sports like that, and so it's just been kind of ingrained to have that that just that competitive edge. Like I just want to go out there and compete and do everything, and so hearing his name all those years, just kind of like I thought that it'd be cool to change my nickname for that fight. But I think that after all the support that I got from it, and after all the great feeling that I had when they said it, whenever they announced my name and they said it, it was just the leech. The leech means a lot to me because of that's just my style. But Action Jackson, I think I'm going to keep it, and I think that I'm going to keep it around because of and just what it stands for, and just kind of it always reminds me of like where I came from, with that competition in my blood and with my family all the time, and just always hearing that from my brother, just kind of be something nice to always kind of keep that in the back of my head is that I don't know how much longer I get to compete, but I want to keep going as long as I can, as hard as I can.
And it kind of matches your style too, in a way, right? Because I feel like you've always been a guy that, even in those ground scrambles, nonstop action, trying to transition to that next move. So, do you feel like, in a way, this kind of shows fans what you're all about in terms of your style in the cage and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 22-4, and uh, I either have 19 or 20 finishes out of my 22 wins. So it's like I think in a lot of ways that I am very action packed. I think that you have to understand that the amount of time that I've spent wrestling, you would be a fool to say that I shouldn't be using it. So it's like for me, wrestling and grappling, that's like one of my favorite things to do outside of like just being an MMA fighter. I just love going to the gym and wrestling or grappling with people. And it's like one of my favorite things. And so it's like playing, Sunday football or whatever. Like, it's like, that's my sport. Wrestling and grappling, that's my sport. So, and I take so much pride in that. And it's kind of sucks when you see people, shit on wrestlers and grapplers, and they say, oh, this is so boring. But I'm like, do you know how hard it is to like grab a person that doesn't want to go to the ground,
Yeah.
that's also trained, that they're also trained very high level on the defense, and you take them to the ground, you control them, and then you make them tap because they're scared for their life and they have to tap. Like, it's not easy, man. I take a lot of pride in it. So the leech has always been my name, but I'm very much action packed as far as like the grappling and the looking for finishes. I always want to finish. I always want to finish fights, and leave nothing to question.
Definitely. Last question for me, man. Once again, I really do appreciate the time. So we're looking at one more fight at least by the end of the year, possibly even as soon as next month, but maybe December
Yeah, I
too.
mean, I would do a fill in fight, because there's a couple of fights that are coming up. I would love to fill in on a ranked fight and be the guy that gets to step in there and fight some tough fight that no one else wants or whatever. I would love that. And then if that's not the case, then I would love to fight December 3rd in Orlando, or December 10th in Vegas. But I want it to be with fans. I want to hear the crowd and like feel that energy and stuff. So I want it to be an important fight in that sense, where I get to have my mob of people that, used to come to all my LFA fights. Like, I would love to have all of them, you know, pack up and travel somewhere and, come to my fight, and, just be able to show that support like that and be in person would be really cool to have, a big group of people there.
No doubt about it. And before we wrap things up here, Damon, I'll give you the floor to shout out any sponsors you have, friends, family, fans, all that fun stuff. I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, man, I had these two guys from my hometown. Just they supported me from when I was like, just an amateur, like kind of thinking about fighting, and then Greg C and Scott Brown, man, they've done so much for me with my early career, and they've stuck with me this whole time. It's just cool to be a part of it and have them be a part of it, and just all the people that reach out to me after seeing what I went through that week. It was just it was really cool, and I appreciate the support. I message everyone back whenever they message me. So if anyone ever wants to reach out, all my social media is Damon B Jackson on Twitter and Instagram. And then I do have a Facebook, but I don't really use it. But yeah, so I mean, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate the time on here, and I'm looking for a fight, man. I would love to fight, man. December be awesome.
Absolutely, man. We're looking forward to it, Damon. It's always a great chatting with you. Great to catch up, and all the best to you and your family as well. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.